This week we jump into the Wayback Machine to take a look at aquariums in history. There's not really a machine, it's a figure of speech. Hello YouTube, this is Clone Alpha and I'll be your Pecktec today. We have Charlie behind the camera, Clone Beta's off buying Star Wars toys, and you're here, which means it's time to talk about 5 cool aquarium facts in history. In ancient Rome, the first fish to enter the home was the sea barbel. This is a pretty immense fish. Have you ever seen it? This thing. They were kept in these opaque tanks, probably made out of marble, and normally stored under the guest bed, which makes me think I've been missing an opportunity somehow. I don't think my guests would enjoy having a sea barbel underneath their bed all night. Those must have been huge beds. Or how do they pull them out? Can you just see like a little trundle bed, but it's really like a sea barbel aquarium? What? As cool as all this sounds, it probably isn't true. I got a lot of my information from this book by Mr. Brunner, and he in turn got his information from this guy named Herman Moster, and apparently his findings were unfounded. He didn't really leave a really solid foundation for how he found this information, and so we can kind of determine it's not true. Even though he's passed it along into this book and even this book, and you'll see it several other places, but so far the fact on this one is that it's not a fact at all. Emperor Hung Wu created a large porcelain factory in 1369 for the express purpose of building these vessels through which to view aquatic plants and fish. Gradually these vessels evolved from large barrels into these sort of hemispherical shapes with rounded corners at the top, much like the fish bowls we have today. In Great Britain around 1840, there was a naturalist trend that greatly improved the aquarium trade. More and more of the growing middle class could afford aquariums, and this was a particularly important fad among the women, who apparently swarmed the beaches to look for specimens while their husbands watched from a safe distance. Now around 1860 the fad did taper off, and it was no longer a must-have to have in the home, although many people did. So the public aquarium started picking up. Now, why maintain your own aquarium when you can go to some giant new brilliant aquarium that's got lots of money behind it? So that became a thing, and one in particular I wanted to talk about next. One aquarium that may have bit off more than it could chew was the Royal Aquarium, which opened in 1876. The main hall was 340 feet long by 160 feet wide. It had a rooftop made of glass and iron, sort of like a large greenhouse, and it was decorated with palm trees and sculptures and 13 large aquariums full of all kinds of creatures. It also had space for a 400-person orchestra, ice skating rink, theater. What is this place? The aquarium had an expensive water change system that didn't end up being practical in the end. Basically, they had fresh seawater brought up from 4 cisterns and brought up, but the system eventually failed and the fish died. So the big joke at the aquarium was, where's the fish? Now the aquarium wasn't a complete success, but it wasn't a complete failure either. And apparently it was the best place in town to have your holiday party. The Victorian age is a pretty fascinating time period for me, and I love the aquariums. They were incredibly ornate. It was a level of craftsmanship that we won't see until we can just 3D print up our own aquariums one day. Think about that. They became fascinated by the idea of recreating an ecosystem, much like you or I would probably be today. And what's interesting is they had a lot of the kind of gimmicky aquariums, like the kind of funny, let's mix these 2 animals together aquariums, almost like you'd see today. In some ways, the aquariums they have are much like what we'd see today, with the classic sort of rectangular shape. But they had these parlor aquariums, which were really fascinating. They're sort of a cross between maybe a bird bath and a fountain with glass sides, so you can kind of see in. Now I found 2 videos with this classic Victorian aquarium, and it's rare to see these. So few of them survived, but one person restored his, and this guy here. And if you're into freshwater aquariums, he's got a freshwater tank filtered only by the plants, and he's restored this aquarium. He gives you sort of a pithy explanation of how he restored this aquarium, and he gives you a little history lesson too that's pretty interesting. Check out this other video introduced by Jayme Craigs of the Horniman Museum. They've got a filter system that you won't believe. They've retrofitted this old antique aquarium with just a really cool filter system way away in the closet, and a water change setup that you're going to like. Folks, if you'd like to know more about anything I talked about, I'm going to put links in the description down below. That's about all the show I have for you today. I want to thank you for joining us. Okay, truth time. So Sean's got this big secret. He's got a 55-gallon tank, and the light's been out on it for months. So this used to be a show tank, then he tried to put this LED on it that really didn't work out. So I've went ahead and spent a little money and decided to pick up some LEDs of my own. Put a new LED light bar on that 55 and make it alive again. It used to be a show tank. It will be again, coming soon. And I'll be back real soon with more videos. So follow your bliss and keep a clean tank. See you soon. Wayback Machine to take a look at this week we jump into the Wayback Machine Wayback Machine to take a look at to the Wayback Machine. This week we jump into the This purpose of building vessels through which to vessels. They're around in Britain at home. The Horniman Museum video introduced by Craig Horniman. Sorry, Jayme Craig. Horniman. Is that right? The Horniman Museum? Did I say it right? Horniman? 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 Horniman. The Horniman. Okay, we'll go with the Horniman.